Hi, I am here with the lovely Inga. Now, Inga has a very unique role, one that might have started off as more of a career development strategist, you could say, has now blossomed into something much more all-encompassing. It is definitely a multifaceted and complex kind of world where there is no real one-size-fits-all solution. It's all customized and designed for each person's unique needs. Inga, tell us about your role.
That's always a very loaded question. I think many professionals would say that. Uh, well, it's my background is in HR and charity management, and the work that we do at the EDGE program, at Brands for Canada's EDGE program, is really doing a very custom-tailored approach to helping bridge the gaps between where a client is at the time of graduating from our program, which we'll talk more about, and being ready for the world of work. And that's not necessarily looking at ways to develop their technical skills, while it can be, but also looking at all of those sort of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the supports that they need in place in order to operate well in their personal life and consequently operate successfully in their professional life.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you would almost take a client coming in and look at like their predisposing factors, their precipitating, perpetuating, whatever might have happened in the past to lead them to where they are.
Yeah.
Whatever is happening currently in the moment that might be like an obstacle for them, and
Yeah.
anything that might be in the future. Is that right?
I would say so, yeah. And I mean, in HR terminology, we talk about career path assessments and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that this career path assessment takes into consideration just not some of the topical, obvious areas that a career path assessment would necessarily look at. We also go into more of an in-depth sort of look into the overall landscape of someone's life and what would make them truly happy in their employment and successful. And what is it that we can do in-house to support that? Which in many cases, a lot of things, but also what are some of the other great social enterprises out there doing that we can make a referral to and sort of follow along closely and work collaboratively to ensure that they are getting those supports.
So it's a total systemized approach then. It's not everything necessarily done in-house, but
Right.
you are, working in partnership with various agencies.
Yeah. And I think that's the wonderful thing about having all these other social supports out there and organizations doing wonderful things. If we know of an organization that does it better or can work collaboratively with us, then we certainly want to form those partnerships and relationships so then we can ensure the client at the end of the day the goal is that they get the best wraparound service possible. So.
Absolutely. So what are some successes or highlights that you could point out?
Interesting timing for this question because it was just on Monday that we had a panel day discussion, which is part of the curriculum of the 5-week pre-employment training program. And for that day, we call it heroes, role models, and mentors. And we have a mix of panelists that come in and they talk to our clients about their personal experience with diversity inclusion, with diverse abilities, and whether that be from an employer standpoint, if they are an employer and they're talking about their company and what they're doing in that regard, or they are a person with a diverse ability who has been, have sought after work and now secured work and what that looked like for them and what accommodations might have been available to them and how were those conversations had. Those types of themes tend to come up, and really anything that the clients, which would be our present sort of cohort on the verge of graduation, would be interested in knowing about the world of work and how, to navigate certain situations being a person with a diverse ability.
Absolutely. Amazing. So in terms of diverse abilities, have you found that there have been any, real struggles around that in terms of finding placement? Are there any groups that you've been able to make headway with?
Yeah, I don't want to name any names necessarily, but there is work to be done in this area, right? We're talking about diversity inclusion now more than ever, and what that really means with the introduction of the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, and AODA, and that being a compulsory part of corporate training. There is additional sort of training and discussion to be had in terms of what in practical sort of day-to-day business life or is it like to accommodate people with diverse abilities. And I would say some organizations are almost inherently doing that better than others because maybe they are a service-based organization or a social enterprise that has a lot of experience with working with individuals with diverse abilities. So they just by nature do that better, and the other organizations just have to have that time and that experience and education in it. So I've found that depends on the client's diverse ability, whether it's just maybe strictly physical or it's a mental developmental or a combination. Our approach is to ensure that they're in a place that is equipped to accommodate them physically, but not just physically as the space, but really they're equipped to accommodate them as far as having enough knowledge of how to properly accommodate somebody with that specific diverse ability.
So it sounds like it's a two-pronged approach. It is client-centered, but you're also looking at it from the organization standpoint and working with them to boost their, strengths to be able to support.
Absolutely, and also being able to matchmake it properly, right? We don't want to send a client anywhere where they can just get a job and where the employer just wants to employ people with diverse abilities. I think that's wonderful that they have that desire. We want to send them to a place where they're equipped for that, and that's just to meet both the business needs and also the client's needs.
Absolutely, and it sounds like your job is not a 9-to-5 job, that you would probably be not only working with the organizations, but the clients are perhaps reaching out to you, and how does that work for you?
Well, I would say I'm extremely passionate about the work I do, and it does extend between 9 and 5 by my own choice, I think.
Okay.
It's just what comes along with being, having heart in what you're doing. A lot of my clients I'm on text message basis with, and it's sort of something that I found works well when they have a quick question or they have a doubt, or say they're already employed in their jobs and something comes up and they say, should I have a discussion with my manager now about this, or I haven't received my pay, or such and such said something to me and it rubbed me the wrong way, right? To have somebody available to them that they can bounce something off really quickly, and give them some advice or some guidance, I think is very valuable. So I've kind of made myself available that way. I think that generally happens with anyone who's quite passionate about their work. It tends to extend between 9 and 5, and I think that's okay. It's also obviously important to take care of yourself, but there's certain things that come along with being passionate about your work.
Absolutely, and that's definitely what I'm hearing from you, and that's really the difference that an organization like this makes when the people are heart-centered, the people that they're helping really feel that it's not just a job, it's a way of life, it's caring and compassion and loving your neighbor as you love yourself, right? So it's truly beautiful. How did you get into this line of work?
So I actually started off as a consultant so my background again was HR and charity management, and Brands for Canada was starting EDGE the EDGE program January of this year in 2018, and they took me on as a consultant to help sort of build out the program from a standpoint of somebody who understands employment, because it was a pre-employment soft skills training program, and the HR side of things, which is job development, career growth, working with individuals on professional development. And then just the background of working with various charities and social enterprises and people. And so it started off as a consulting role, and then it grew into something full time, and it grew into something and blossomed into something that in a lovely unexpected way was more than what I thought going in, and it's been a wonderful learning experience, and it continues to be a learning experience. and I developed a new passion in an area that I didn't know, as much about, and I haven't really been hyper focused on diverse abilities in the past. I've more kind of had an overall, I've had a more general sort of idea of the different sort of facets of human resources and so on, but this has been a real concentrated sort of delve into that area, and I absolutely love it.
Absolutely. It's people like you that are truly committed to making a difference that makes this world a more beautiful place, a more inclusive place. And that's what the Disability Channel is really all about as well. So thank you for all you do in your time.
Thank you.
All right.
My name is Inga Skaya. I work for Brands for Canada's EDGE program, which is a pre-employment program for diverse abilities. If you are somebody who identifies with a diverse ability, or somebody who might be interested in a program like this, we would love for you to contact us. I could be reached at inga@brandsforcanada.com, and that's brands with an S.